In this video, we will be walking you through the entire process of installing a cable railing system using surface-mounted posts and a quick slide handrail. This will demonstrate how to mount your posts on both a stair run and a level run, using a transition post on each corner. Installing your stair posts. To begin, identify and mark the mounting location of the mounting holes for your first post. Using a 3/16 inch drill bit, drill all 4 mounting holes. Set your post in its place and use a T30 bit to fasten all 4 screws. For proper fastening strength, ensure that there is at least 4 inches of additional blocking underneath each post. Use the post level to determine if your post is plumb. If not, it may be necessary to back out the screws. Using the post level and shims, shim accordingly until your post is level. Break off the excess shim material and refasten the screws. Repeat as needed and then slide your foot cover down into place. Repeat your post mounting steps for each post on the run that you are working on. The installation process for posts on level runs follows the same steps. Now that your posts are installed, it's time to install your handrail. Installing your post side handrail bracket. If you are using a transition post from a level run to an angle run, a G, H, D, or I post, then you will need to use a post side handrail bracket. Identify and prep the post side dome, placing it against the smaller 5/16 inch hole on the stair side of the post. Then, place the lock washer on the socket head screw and use the Allen wrench to insert both into the 1/2 inch hole on the level side of the post. Begin tightening the screw into the dome until it is tight. Using a dead blow hammer, hit the steel plug into the open 1/2 inch hole. Take the handrail designated for the stair run and line it up on the post side dome and the dome top for the lower posts on the stair. Installing your angled handrail. Once you have determined your needed handrail length with a tape measure, prepare to cut your handrail. A helpful tip in your preparation process is to use painter's tape at the point of contact. This will help preserve your powder coat when you make your cut. Additionally, use an appropriate blade rated to cut the type of material that you are cutting into. Apply a form of cutting fluid or WD-40 to the blade to ensure smooth cuts through the metal. Now that you have your measurement, mark and cut to size accordingly. Move to the upper end of the angled handrail. Grab a standard quick slide bracket, the quick slide bolts, and the retainer nut. Insert the bolts into the holes of the bracket so that the heads sit in the recessed side of the bracket. Tighten the bolts into the retainer clip just enough so that they stay in place. Then slide the retainer clip into the quick slide channel. Select a quick slide end plug and pass a thin line of silicone around the edge of the interior face of the end plug. Then insert the end plug into the end of the handrail, closing it. Now that you have completed the installation of your upper quick slide bracket, move to the other end of the handrail. Repeat these steps to install the lower quick slide bracket. Flip the stair handrail over and slide the standard bracket down until the bracket ears are directly over the dome top for the lower post. Push the bracket down until the holes line up with the dome top holes. Begin tightening the button head socket screws on each side of the bracket using a 5/32 Allen wrench. Once the handrail is in place correctly, use the Allen wrench to tighten each of the quick slide bolts, locking the handrail into place. Moving to the upper side of the stair handrail, slide the adjustable post side bracket until the slots line up with the dome holes. Use a 5/32 Allen wrench to tighten the button head socket screws and tighten the quick slide bolts into place. Your stair handrail should now be mounted. Installing level handrail runs. Select the appropriate handrail for your level run. Setting it on the tops of the posts, line up the straight end where you would like the handrail to end. Moving to the corner post, make a 45-degree mark across the handrail where the handrail will be mitered. You will want the far corner of the handrail to line up with the far corner of the post. Use a miter saw with a blade rated to cut aluminum. Flip the handrail upside down and move to the straight end. Select a standard straight quick slide bracket and attach the bolts to the retainer nut the same as before. Slide the retainer nut into the quick slide channel. At this point, it will be beneficial to dry fit the handrail on the post run and make sure that it is cut to length. Trim as needed. Apply silicone to an end cap and plug the end. Move back to the mitered end of the handrail. Select a corner quick slide L bracket and the dome connector. Using an Allen wrench and a quick slide bolt, attach the dome connector to the L bracket. Make sure to orient the dome connector to sit on the post correctly. Using the Allen wrench and bolts, attach a retainer nut to each end of the L bracket. Slide one end of the L bracket into the mitered end of the handrail. Flip the handrail over and connect the bracket to the post dome using 2 button head screws. Once the bracket is attached to the post, push the handrail so that the mitered end of the handrail is snugly against the bracket corner. Then, tighten the quick slide bolts. Move back to the closed end of the handrail and slide the quick slide bracket so the holes in the ears line up with the holes in the post dome. Use the Allen wrench and button head socket screws to attach the bracket to the post. Finally, use an Allen wrench to tighten the quick slide bolts on both sides of the quick slide bracket. Installing your second section of level handrail. For the remaining corner handrail, you will repeat these steps. Setting the handrail on the run, make a 45-degree angle mark on the handrail where it will sit against the other mitered handrail cut. Cut the handrail on this mark. Move down to the straight end of the handrail and flip the handrail over. Slide a prepared quick slide straight bracket into this end. At this point, it will be beneficial to dry fit the handrail on the post run and make sure that it is cut to length. Trim as needed. Then, using silicone, insert the plug into the closed end of the handrail. Move to the mitered end of the handrail and flip the handrail over. Push the quick slide bolts up so that the retainer nut is raised off the top of the bracket. Slide the quick slide handrail so the retainer nut moves onto the channel. Once the miter joint is tight, begin tightening the quick slide bolts to lock the handrail into place. Return to the closed end of the handrail and slide the quick slide bracket so the holes in the ears line up with the holes of the post dome. Use the Allen wrench and button head socket screws to attach the bracket to the post. Finally, tighten the quick slide bolts on both sides of the quick slide bracket. Now that your posts and handrails are installed, it is time to install your cable railing. Keep in mind that your posts and handrail provide the structural integrity for your cable railing system and must be completed before installing your cable. Installing angle tension kit to angle tension kit. When installing your angle tension kit, the first thing you will need is to locate both the 5/16 inch and 1/2 inch holes on the post. The 5/16 hole will be on the inside of the post. These will be offset to accommodate the angle of the stairs. Starting on the lowest post, run the cable through the 1/2 inch hole and up through the 5/16 inch hole. If you are having trouble running the cable up through the post, it may be beneficial to take an appropriately sized drill bit and bevel out the post holes to help the cable pass through at an angle. Touch up any drilled portion with the touch-up paint sent with the system. Place the adhesive sleeve onto the cable first, making sure that the adhesive side is facing the 5/16 inch hole. Then run the cable up through all the posts on the stair run. If you have any intermediate posts on your stair run, make sure to thread the cable through the adhesive sleeves on each side of the post. The adhesive side of the sleeve should always face the post side. Pass the cable up through the top post. Place the angled washer onto the cable so that it sits against the post. Then insert the cable into the open end of a threaded crimp fitting. Crimp the fitting twice on the collar, slightly offset. Insert the threaded fitting through the post and out the far side. Then slide the angled washer onto the cable against the post. Next, thread the tension receiver onto the threaded crimp fitting a few rotations by hand. Place your hand on the cable and gently pull the tension receiver against the angle washer, pulling both snugly against the post. Next, move down to the lower post where the cable is passing through. Making sure that the cable is taut, place painter's tape where the cable touches the inside face of the post. Then, cut the excess cable 3 to 4 inches past the post. Remove the cable from the post. Measure and cut 1.5 inches beyond the painter's tape. Place a threaded crimp fitting on the cable end and crimp it twice. Remove the painter's tape. Then, pass the threaded crimp fitting and cable into the post. Place an angled washer and tension receiver against the post. Insert the tension receiver and tighten it to the threaded crimp fitting a few turns by hand. Next, place the neoprene sleeve onto the cable close to the inside face of the post. Grip the sleeve with pliers to keep the cable from spinning as you tighten it. Use the provided Allen wrench to tighten the tension receiver, making sure to keep the cable from spinning. Tighten until all the slack is taken in. Next, remove the sticker from the adhesive sleeve and firmly press the sleeve against the post to ensure a strong connection. Move back to the top post. Remove the adhesive from the adhesive sleeve and firmly press the sleeve against the post. Repeat all of the previous steps for each run of cable. When all runs are completed, use the Allen wrench to tighten the middle run of cable until it is taut. And then tighten one more half turn. Use the neoprene sleeve and pliers if needed. Tighten all the runs of cable in this order. Your stair's cable should now be installed. Installing cable on level runs, inside post mount to level tension kit. Take the loose end of cable and pass it through your end post. Place an insert sleeve on the cable, making sure the sleeve is facing the correct direction. If you have an intermediate A2 post with 1/2 inch holes, you will place an insert sleeve on each side of the post. Run the cable to the 5/16 inch corner post hole. Place an adhesive sleeve on the cable, followed by a termination washer and cable stop. Crimp the cable stop twice. Slide the cable stop into the 5/16 inch hole. Then, turn the termination washer horizontally and place it into the 5/16 inch hole as well. This will lock to the inside of the post. Return to the first side of the run. Place painter's tape where the cable touches the post and cut the cable 3 to 4 inches past the far side of the post. Remove the cable from the post. Mark and cut 1/2 inch past the painter's tape. Then remove the painter's tape. Place a threaded crimp fitting on the end of the cable and crimp it twice. Place the threaded crimp fitting into the post. Then, place the tension receiver into the opposite end of the post and turn it onto the threaded crimp fitting a few turns by hand. Next, place the neoprene sleeve onto the cable close to the inside face of the post. Grip the sleeve with pliers to keep the cable from spinning as you tighten. Use the provided Allen wrench to tighten the tension receiver, making sure to keep the cable from spinning. Tighten until the cable slack is taken in. Slide the insert sleeve until it touches the 1/2-inch hole. Place the driver block onto the cable and seat it against the insert sleeve. Using a dead blow hammer, strike the driver block to fully seat the insert sleeve into the post. A strong hit is all that is needed. Return to the corner post and, removing the adhesive sleeve protectant, place the adhesive sleeve tightly against the post. Repeat all of the previous steps for each run of level cable. When all runs are completed, use the Allen wrench to tighten the middle run of cable until it is taut, and then tighten one more half turn. Use the neoprene sleeve and pliers if needed. Tighten all the runs of cable in this order. Your run of cable railing should now be installed. Installing level cable railing. Level tension kit to level tension kit. Take the loose end of cable and pass it through your end post. Place an insert sleeve on the cable, making sure that the cable is facing the correct direction. If you have intermediate A2 posts with 1/2-inch holes, you will place an insert sleeve on each side of the post. Run the cable to the other end of the post and into the insert sleeve. Pass the cable through the post and crimp on a threaded crimp fitting. Crimp this fitting twice. Then thread a tension receiver onto the fitting a few turns by hand. Pull the cable so the kit locks to the post. Return to the original end post and cut the cable 3 to 4 inches past the end of the post. Apply a strip of painter's tape where the cable touches the inside face of the post. Pull the cable out of the post. Measure and cut a 1/2 inch past the tape. Place a threaded crimp fitting on the cable and crimp it twice. Remove the painter's tape. Put the crimp fitting into the post, and then put the tension receiver into the other side of the post. Tighten the tension receiver a few times to hold the cable in place. Next, place the neoprene sleeve onto the cable close to the inside face of the post. Grip the sleeve with pliers to keep the cable from spinning as you tighten. Use the provided Allen wrench to tighten the tension receiver, making sure to keep the cable from spinning. Tighten until the cable slack is taken in. Slide the insert sleeve until it touches the 1/2-inch hole. Place the driver block onto the cable and seat it against the insert sleeve. Using a dead blow hammer, strike the driver block to fully seat the insert sleeve into the post. A strong hit is all that is needed. Go to the opposite side of the run and seat the insert sleeve there, following the same steps. Repeat all of the previous steps for each run of level cable. When all the runs are completed, use the Allen wrench to tighten the middle run of cable until it is taut, and then tighten one more half turn. Use the neoprene sleeve and pliers if needed. Tighten all the runs of cable in this order. Your run of cable railing should now be installed. Thanks for watching this video on how to install your cable railing. You can keep up to date with all of our installation instructions by subscribing to our channel at youtube.com/viewrail or by visiting our website at viewrail.com.